gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. Children behave, that's what they say when we're together. And watch how you play, they don't understand. And so we're running just as fast as we can, holding on to one another's hand, trying to get away into the night. And then you put your arms around me and we tumble to the ground. And then you say, I think we're alone now, there doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now, the beating of our hearts is the only sound. Look at the way we gotta hide what we're doing, 'cause what would they say if they ever knew? And so we're running just as fast as we can, holding on to one another's hand, trying to get away into the night. And then you put your arms around me and we tumble to the ground. And then you say, I think we're alone now, there doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now, the beating of our hearts is the only sound. I think we're alone now, there doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now, the beating of our hearts is the only sound. I think we're alone now, doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now, the beating of our hearts is the only sound. I think we're alone now, doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now, the beating of our hearts is the only sound. I think we're alone now, doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now, the beating of our hearts is the only sound. I think we're alone now, doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now, the beating of our hearts is the only sound. I think we're alone now.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest episode of I'm No Joe, your home for all things combat sports, and the place where every armchair quarterback can feel like Ben Bronco. The views and opinions presented on the I'm No Joe channel belong solely to the person expressing them, no one else. If we say it, that means we meant it. That being said, this show does contain adult themes, adult content, and general shit that you shouldn't be letting your kids intake. Be advised, viewer discretion is recommended. Proceed at your own risk. You've been warned. In the name of the punchy and the kicky and the Thursday evening, I now pronounce you, I'm No Joe. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this April Fool's edition of the I'm No Joe podcast, the show where every armchair quarterback can feel like Buddy Christ. Thursday night be with you. Obviously, April Fools, this is not, nor will it ever be, a religious talk show. Sorry, that's just not what we get up to around here. We do punchy kicky around here. So, ironically enough, for the first time in, I can't fucking remember how long, we don't have a UFC card this weekend. Finally a breath, but to their credit, I will say, Bellator decided to capitalize on that first weekend with no UFC and host their first event of the year. So we have actually got the Bellator 255 Featherweight Grand Prix tournament semifinals to talk about this evening, as well as a little bit of punchy, kicky news for reals, though, no fooling, and a little bit of a recap of some of the holy shit moments from last week's UFC 260. As is the case more often than not, I am not the only one here for your source of shenanigans and punchy kiki get down. The young kid may be here in just a little bit. Mr. Fresho 3 is out on a hug hunt for Uncle Chael. He might make it with us this evening. He might not. There is no telling. But as is the case more often than not across the octagon from myself, my Wednesday night homeboy, my combat shit talking compatriot, the one and only Golf T Vapes. How you doing, brother?
Doing fucking fantastic, except for a little sore, but you know, you'll have that when you're fucking working on your vacation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I hear that you're a glazer these days.
A little bit of everything. Bustin' hum, man. Like the jack of all trades, master of none.
Hey, if it works, though, right?
That's it.
Oh, glad to have you here, though. So, first and foremost, kind of like we talked about a little bit last week, UFC 260 started off to be a spectacular card and then just slowly but surely got whittled down and lost one thing after another. And we ended up with a very strange one fight early prelim card, but a 4-fight prelim card full of decision makers, with the exception of one that we'll talk about in a minute. And then a main card that was just a whole lot of wait, what the fuck? And oh shit. So, opening fight kind of went exactly like we thought it was going to. Neither one of the Zatar brothers really have shown that they deserve to be in the UFC. Nothing has changed there. And like I kind of mentioned a minute ago, the prelims came out and were just fucking decision city. Snooze galore. You didn't fucking miss anything if you didn't catch them live. Up until the quote unquote premier prelim fight of the evening. Alonzo Metafield versus the newcomer. What the fuck was his name? Fabio Chirant. One of the two people who missed weight for this weekend's card. Ironically, Jared Gooden, who fought right before him, missed weight, and Fabio Chirant in the premier prelim both missed weight. The only two on the card who did. But to his credit, Mr. Chirant was trying to put a guillotine on Alonzo Metafield, and for a very, very split second, it looked like he might actually fucking get it, until Alonzo Metafield reached down into his bag of tricks and pulled out an ace, the likes of which I don't think any of us knew he had in his fucking arsenal, and Von flued Fabio almost into complete unconsciousness out of fucking nowhere, hits it smoothly and secures his goddamn victory at just a minute 11 into the very first round. Bravo, Alonzo Metafield. I knew that motherfucker could punch. We knew he could wrestle fairly decently. I did not know he had it like that. And I will say this, I don't care if he Bryce Mitchelled that shit and learned that from YouTube, or if that's something that he's been drilling in the fucking gym for the last 9 months of lockdown, getting it perfect so when he had the chance he could use it. Either way, that shit looked fucking spectacular. Bravo to you, sir. Alonzo Metafield looked like a fucking stud Saturday night. I will say that.
I'm not gonna lie, that was probably one of the highlights of the night for me. That fight, and
yeah.
not that it lasted that long. One,
Didn't need to.
for number one, Charant came in very short notice. So you miss weight, short notice, whatever. I'm going to give you a pass on that one.
Right.
Because I think, what do you have,
little
like
bit.
6 days notice or something?
5 days. 5 days notice, and he literally missed by half a pound.
Yeah, so it wasn't like it was some fucking huge whiff. And being as your short notice, good on you for taking it. Good on you for trying to pull a fucking guillotine. However, I wanted to yell so fucking bad because he was trying to lock up the guillotine. Well, the dude had him inside control. You don't do that because it sets you up for the OSP choke. I don't call it the Von Flu choke anymore. Yeah, but that was a beautiful thing. The worst part, though, was for me of wanting to yell, was that because they're in the Apex Center, you could clearly hear Menifield's coaches going, "You've got the Von Flu."
That, and at one point you heard Sharon's corner yell, "Watch your neck!" Or he yelled, "Oh no, your neck!" Like right before Menifield cinched it up.
Yeah, and my hat's off to Menifield for this reason. He locked the attempted guillotine on himself to keep his arm there so he could Von Flu him.
Yep.
It was a beautiful lacing. It was literally textbook the way that it was supposed to be done, and beautiful finish. Hats off to him. To be honest, I'm pretty pissed that they didn't give him like a submission of the night 50K bonus.
I kind of agree. Like, that really did kind of set the fucking standard, considering the opening fight sucked a whole bowl full of ass. And then the 3 fights directly before this were all like ignorable decision fucking fights. And then Menifield comes out in a minute and puts fucking work in and lands that fucking sweet ass choke. That man deserved some fucking money, I would say.
He's the one who set the pace for the rest of the night. Like,
fucking A.
From that point on, the rest of the fights were solid.
Yeah, definitely Menifield lit the fucking fire and set the tempo where it should have been for sure. So moving along from there onto the main card itself. Excuse me. Kind of like TJ said there, that really did push the fucking pace, because when folks heard that Menifield had that fucking building rocking with that fucking Von Flu, Jamie Malarkey was really feeling his fucking oats, came out and basically turned Worthy the fuck off. One of the smoothest things we have ever seen Jamie Malarkey do. It's one of those things we said the kid's got fucking potential. Well, hey, he fucking showed it. That kid was precise, he was patient, and he did exactly what he needed to. And it sucked to see Kama get fucking laid out, but man, Jamie Malarkey's getting real fucking serious, boys and girls, and that's going to be a problem if he keeps on that fucking path. It's going to be a problem for a lot of folks, because that was dangerous. 46 seconds in the first round, and he was done working.
That was, granted, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of saw that going that way a little bit, but at the same time, not that fast.
Right, yeah, not like that. He came in and was just like, nope, we're done.
Yeah.
Good night. Base planted fucking Kama right
like, oh. They said, "Oh, Menifield, thanks for setting the pace for us. Now we know where we need to be." And Malarkey took the bull by the horns and fucking put him out.
Damn right. No, he definitely stepped the fuck up and followed the trend. And to their credit, the ladies that followed after that came out and they fucking brought it as well. We knew that this fucking ladies fight was going to be spectacular. I don't know that anybody had an idea that it was going to be this fucking great. On the feet, it was fucking great. On the ground, it was fucking great. The transitions were fucking great. The striking was fucking great. The grappling, the fucking jiu-jitsu. This was just a fucking awesome ladies MMA match. Props to Miranda Maverick for getting the decision. Jillian Roberts gave it fucking hell, but just could not get the overall fucking striking of Miranda Maverick basically stopped. She gave it hell. She gave some crazy fucking jujitsu, and they had some sweet back and forths. But Miranda Maverick just really never stopped throwing punches, no matter where the fuck they were. Little point punches, big power punches. Miranda Maverick just kept letting them fucking go. And at the end of the day, it was enough. It was enough to get her that fucking W. Hats off to both of those ladies. I don't think that's a situation where either one of them really lose anything. I think Miranda Maverick came out and looked fucking great. And Jillian Robertson gave her a run for her fucking money. Just didn't do enough to get the W at the end of the judge's decision. So still a great fucking fight. One of the best fights of the whole fucking evening, in my opinion.
I'm 100% with you on that. I'm actually pretty pissed that they didn't get fight of the night for that. Because to be honest, they put on more of a show than almost every other fight on the card. I would say every other fight on the card.
I completely agree. That should have been fight of the night.
You got 3 rounds of good, solid action. Not to mention, we learned something major about Miranda Maverick that night. Not only does she have stand-up ability, because she definitely outstruck Jillian Robinson. And I give Jillian credit. She tried.
She sure the fuck did. She didn't make it easy.
But we all thought she was going to get dominated if she got taken down, and she did not. She held her own. Now, I'm not saying Jillian didn't throw a lot at her or didn't throw very little. She threw a fuck ton at her.
Yeah.
But Miranda's got some ground game. Little thrown off. Didn't realize it was that good. Yeah. It turned out to be something special.
I completely agree. I was completely taken off. I did not realize Miranda had that kind of fucking ground game either. We knew Miranda had a good stand-up game coming into this, and we knew that was going to be her point to shine. Did not realize that not only does she have a ground game, she's also got pretty goddamn good defense on the ground too. Because there was some shit that Jillian threw at her, just baby's butt cheek smooth, and she rolled right the fuck with it and was like, nope, we're going to keep on going. There were a couple times where all of us in the room watching were literally just stunned, speechless with our fucking jaws in our lap going.
Yep. It was such a good back and forth in there.
Yeah.
For everything that was going on, they mixed up so much better than every other fucking fight on the card, period.
Yeah, absolutely agree. The real downside to that lady's fight is that when it was over, we had to watch O'Malley get back in the fucking cage again. To be fair, this fight was essentially set to be a softball pitch for O'Malley to knock out a dude who's never quite been able to crack into top talent and get himself the push going back again. And motherfucker couldn't even do that. Almeida dropped him and almost knocked him the fuck out in the first round. He got himself in big trouble real fucking early. Managed to come back. Almeida just couldn't put it together enough to fucking stop O'Malley, and then got sloppy and ate some big fucking shots in the third and got a very lucky fucking stoppage, but not until after dipshit McGee thought he had a walk-off and didn't, because, you know, he's that kind of an asshole.
You know, of all the things in that fight, it's bad enough that I had to watch Sean O'Malley because I don't like him. No. Even sent my neighbor a text because we said, hey, fuck O'Malley, because that's how I feel about it. Did I think Thomas Almeida was going to win that fight? No. I really didn't. I was hoping.
I was going to say, I was hoping against hope.
He was going to win it. Credit where credit's due. O'Malley caught him good, set Almeida clean on his fucking ass.
Yep.
And had he have just gone in and finished up, he could have definitely been viable for knockout of the night.
Yeah, he could have one-shot him when he was on his ass, and it definitely would have got him 50K undeniably right there.
Easy peasy. But no, I'm going to be a cocksucker and walk away. You're not a heavyweight. You're a fucking bantamweight, dude. Bantamweights recover way quicker than the heavyweights do.
Fuck yes.
That's just how that works. That's why that ref looked at him like, well, do something. And instead of 1 round of work, you had to do almost 3.
That's right.
Because he didn't knock him out until almost the end of the 3rd. So, I mean, it was just another reason for me to say fuck O'Malley. Because, you know what? If you're that big of a cocksucker and high on your own supply that you can't go in and finish somebody when you sit them down, that's a problem. That dude, Almeida shouldn't have had to take as much damage as he did.
Agreed.
Because he could have just went in and finished him, and that would have been the end of it. He wouldn't have taken 2 more rounds damage. But yeah, what do I know? I'm just some random fucking guy off the street. I'm just a Joe.
I thought the same thing until Sean O'Malley's coach started talking shit to me on Instagram after the fight, of course, not before the fight when I made my opinion known. After the fight was over, you know, convenient. Fucking clown shoes. That whole fucking camp is a sack of shit. Anyhow, moving along from that fucking dumpster fire, we roll into the replacement co-main event of the evening. Vicente Lucay versus Tyquil Woodley. Literally, from the moment he walked out of the fucking quote-unquote tunnel in the apex, out the little maze they have them follow to get to the ring, Woodley looked exhausted. He looked like he hadn't slept in 7 days and he'd been smoking crack for 5 of them at least. Just falling in and out of love with fighting all over again. You could tell from the moment he actually got in that cage and started stretching and shit, he didn't want to be there. You could tell, like, this is not what he wanted to be doing with his Saturday evening. And credit where credit is due, he shocked every fucking one of us, because when the bell started, we got just the tiniest little fucking glimpse of that old Tyron Woodley, that made people pay attention because he would fly across that fucking ring and throw tanks at your fucking forehead. The problem was he had about the same fight IQ as that young Tyron Woodley, who would run across the ring and throw tanks at your forehead with caution to the fucking wind. And Vicente Lucay ain't no fucking slouch. We've been saying it for the fucking longest. That dude is one of the toughest in the fucking division. He just hasn't quite had his chance to shine. Well, former champion on his way, clearly falling from grace, and he completely overlooked Vicente Lucay, got fucking sloppy, and Lucay made him pay the fucking price, cinched him the fuck up, and left his body slumped on the goddamn ground. Vicente Lucay, in less than a round, shows that Woodley just doesn't fucking have it anymore. I don't think they're going to let him go just yet. I think they're basically going to use him as a gatekeeper. They're going to ring that Woodley name for all that it's worth. They're going to Fast and Furious this motherfucker until they get 10 more fucking episodes out of it. But it's not going to get any better. It's only going to get less recognizable, the name that gets thrown across from him, until he literally is the guy that they are going to be using, mark my words, for the fucking Contender Series welterweights coming in. That's where Woodley's heading. He's going to be the guy that they throw the guy who didn't get a contract on the Contender Series, but answered the phone when they needed a last-minute fight to fill a card. That's going to be Woodley's next set of guys that they're throwing him up against, because they're not going to let him go just yet. There's still a little bit of recognition there, but man, it didn't look fucking good.
Oh, I'm not going to lie. I had a little bit different outlook on that. Don't get me wrong, he did look tired coming in, but the second that bell rang, you saw the fire back in there. In my own opinion, I saw the fire.
And it was hot. To the floor. Yeah, he put it to the floor. I'll give him that. He came out with that bitch red line.
Fucking metal, and that tells me he still got some fight left in him. The problem was he just went balls to the walls. He didn't have any defense. Now, with that being said, there was a shot during that fight where he caught Vicente right behind the fucking ear, and you saw him visibly get wobbled. There was a quick moment where I thought there could be the end, and we see Tyron back on the W side of the house. Vicente, to his credit, fucking beautifully came back and got his wits back about him really quickly. Luckily, it was early in the fight, so he wasn't exhausted or anything when that happened. So it's kind of he kind of lucked out, in my opinion, for that reason. Now, Tyron, on the other hand, he went out on his fucking sword, though, because he kept fucking swinging. He got basically in the same round, knocked out, tapped out, and slept, all in the same fucking round.
Yeah, in a matter of a minute and change, separating the events.
Got back up, got fucking guillotined, tapped, and as he was tapping, he went out. And dude had a rough fucking night. He went out in a blaze of fucking glory, though. Like, dude, I'm hoping out of this is that point where we see the fucking phoenix rise from the ashes. Because you know what? I'm not saying it's a strong possibility, but the way he looked, I think there's enough embers in there to get that fucker to fly again.
I don't know if he's going to go fully back.
But
yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if he's got enough to really fly, but he's got enough to still put some fucking oomph in that octagon. I don't think he is the can that they're trying to make him out to be. I think he's still got a little bit left in the tank, but I think if he comes into his next fight as half-assed as he came into this one, because you could tell he was clearly overlooking Lucay. He thought that he was going to be able to just land one good hard shot, end the fucking fight like he was still 25.
He damn near did.
Yeah, sorry, but you ain't 25 no more. And we saw in that Wonder Boy fight, you can hit Vicente Luque with a fucking UPS truck. He's going to stay in there. Unless you put him out, Vicente Luque ain't fucking going anywhere. And like TJ said, he got caught. Woodley landed one on him that had him in the oh shit mode. And he turned around and caught Woodley with one that put Woodley in his stanky leg mode. And it was fucking back and forth. And then next thing you know, that net got a little too open. And Vicente says, oh, look, good night. And as he literally got the tap barely in, he went. And Vicente, as he let go, literally, Woodley's body hit the ground like a fucking bag full of jello, man. He was out. But I do agree. There's definitely a little bit there. That's what I said. There was a glimpse there. We got to see a little moment of that classic Woodley that we all loved for just a little bit. But man, if he can't get it together, basically at this point, he has to, whoever the fuck it is, his next opponent, he has to knock them the fuck out in the first round without them touching him, or he becomes the gatekeeper soup can catch that they're trying to make him out to be. Like, he has a chance to stay decently ranked. He's never going back to the belt, but he can stay decently ranked to fight out his contract if he puts on a spectacular performance his next time out. Otherwise, he's going to be that guy that, you know, last minute fucking contender series couldn't hack it, get thrown against.
To be honest, I really hope it doesn't come to that. What I was really hoping for, because this is his fourth loss in a row, I was hoping when they dropped fucking a couple people this week, he was going to be one of them. Likewise. Because I don't want to see him go down that road. Look, he's done a lot of great things for the welterweight division as a whole. And so it was just kind of a thing I just didn't want to see happen.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really saw it playing out this way, but this is absolutely one of those situations where you make your bed and eventually you're going to have to sleep in it. But that will bring us to the main event of the evening. The shot heard round the world, as it were. Stipe Miocic versus Francis and Gano 2. Oh, man. I will say this. Stipe at 235 is so much goddamn faster and more nimble than Stipe at 254. But Francis Ngannou is the definition of a heavyweight power puncher. When he throws any punch, he puts every bit of his fucking soul into that shit. And we knew that. We knew that Stipe had to worry about that. What we didn't know is that Francis really has been working on his wrestling. It wasn't just a matter of him joking about Kamaru being in his corner for the last couple weeks. He legitimately has been working on his wrestling, because when Stipe shot on him, not only was he able to completely shut down Stipe's shoot, he whipped the fuck around and grabbed Stipe from the back and landed a couple shots that looked like he almost ended that fucking fight early had Stipe not have the fucking granite chin that he does, because Francis landed some big fucking shots early. But that second round, Francis, with that fucking crazy power, landed the one big shot nobody wanted to see him fucking land, and the lights went out in Georgia. And new Francis Ngannou becomes the heavyweight champion with brutal authority.
I can't say that I'm surprised at the outcome, because I knew there was a chance of that happening.
Right.
Because with that kind of power comes people going fucking night-night. That's just how that works.
Yep.
What I'm most surprised about that whole fight, actually, let me back up before I get to this. I'll say this. Watching Stipe come in on that fight, he didn't look quite right coming out. For this, and he didn't seem 100% there in the moment. And he seemed like he was kind of just going through the motions. It didn't look like he was quite ready. And don't get me wrong, he still came in with the trademark fucking crazy fucking hair and all that. So that looked all normal. But there was something about him where he looked like he was a half step off. Now, is that exactly what caused him to lose? I'm not going to say that at all, because obviously Francis has definitely the most crazy thing worked on his fucking wrestling. But with, in my opinion, Stipe looking a half step off, I'm wondering if because of the gigantic differentiation in weight that he was between this and his previous fight with Francis, I'm wondering if that has something to do with it, because he's progressively gotten smaller in his last couple of years in the UFC. In heavyweight, you don't generally want to get smaller. It's
certainly the opposite. Yeah.
Bit of a weird thing, but he did seem like a half step off. And I'm wondering if that's because of the change in weight. I mean, you go from 250 to 235, lose 20 pounds in that division. Yeah, you're going to be faster, but your timing's going to be off because you're a little speedier. And I'm wondering if that had anything to do with it. I'm not saying that it did, but watching the fucking takedown defense of how easily he shucked that takedown blew my fucking mind, because I was like, oh, yeah, you can say you worked on your wrestling, but it's a whole different thing to actually work your fucking wrestling.
Yeah, it's a different thing to show it, and he did. And another thing that I kind of wonder about was not necessarily the timing, but just the difference of the sheer mass of a 255-pound dude shooting on you at a double leg versus a 234-pound dude shooting a double leg on you. Because it might not seem like a lot, but take a pair of bowling balls and run up a flight of stairs, and then go right up that flight of stairs without them, and think of the difference in that. It might not think like a lot at a glance, but that's a significant difference. It's going to make it a lot more effort to get that done, but it also changes the amount of mass that you're working against. If you're training to work against a dude that's 265 pounds and you end up working against a dude who's only 235, you already know that you got the strength to handle more than what he'll be able to put out.
The physics behind that, there's a lot to be said there, because you get an extra 25 pounds roll in there, fucking, that's a whole lot more mass, potential, and kinetic energy that ends up coming out of that. So that could have something to do with it, but god damn it, still, he shucked him off so easy. It was fucking scary. Because if that's really the case, that his wrestling is now that good, I don't know who stands a chance with him right now.
No.
Except for another power puncher, and somebody's going to have to knock somebody out.
It's going to have to be Clash of the Titans, for real.
Well, and that, I'm in all credit to Francis. Well fucking done. His hands are fucking even faster than we've seen before. We saw it.
Yep.
And then that brings me into this another little caveat thing with this whole John Jones shit. I get what he's publicly doing, working on money. Not mad at that at all. However, he doesn't stand a fucking, if Francis's wrestling is that good, John Jones doesn't stand an earthly chance in fucking hell. Because there's no way he hits as hard as that dude. And don't get me wrong, John Jones did fight power strikers at light heavyweight. However, this is different.
Not the same caliber.
Yeah. One of those would sleep him. So, if his wrestling game has gotten that good, namely the defensive wrestling, I can give a fuck about his offensive wrestling, because if you can stay off of your back,
right,
it doesn't matter.
It makes the difference. It really does.
Yeah, if his defensive wrestling has gotten that good, we're going to see a long haul with him as champ, and I'm okay with that, because I like watching people get put into orbit.
Fuck yeah. You know what you signed up for. You didn't become a fucking heavyweight and sign up with the fucking UFC because you wanted to cuddle and chest fucking crotch sniff.
My favorite thing, though, out of him is how measured he was with answers in the post fight. Like, he was so thoughtful about everything that he said.
He had everything prepared.
It was beautifully done. It was almost like he straight scripted it, but you could tell a lot of it was coming just straight from the fucking heart. And you know what? Yeah. More power to him. Just makes me a bigger fan of Francis Ngannou. That's all. Right. I was already a fan, but the way he's handling pressers now.
Right. Yeah. He confirmed he's a good dude and he knows the role is a serious responsibility, as well as being confirmed the baddest motherfucker in the world.
Yep.
So, we actually, ironically enough, did get a fight of the night and 2 performance of the night bonuses like they generally are supposed to fucking do. It was a little bit weird though. Fight of the night was Woodley versus Lucay, which generally fight of the nights go to decisions and then the performances go to the finishes. Generally don't get a lot of performances or fight of the nights being the finishes like that, at least lately. Performance of the night, unfortunately, O'Malley got his fucking bonus, and the other one went to Francis Ngannou. I really would have liked to have seen Menafield get that 50 fucking K for that Von Flue choke. That was fucking beautiful. Or even Jamie Malarkey for that fucking beautiful shut off of Kama Worthy. Anybody really other than O'Malley, but it is what it is. But that'll bring us over to our news that has happened since last week. Starting right off with the follow-up that came from the post-fight press conference for UFC 260. Dana White literally said, yes, Stipe deserves a rematch. Yes, he should get a rematch, but that's not the direction they're going to go. Kind of like we all thought it was going to be. What he said was, John Jones is next. He just needs to call Hunter right now, because Jones was live tweeting while Dana was on the stage. So Dana got told that and said, John, call Hunter right now. We'll send the paperwork tonight. We can make this fight. Well, John Jones turned around and said that they offered him $10 million for that title fight. And that for him, $10 million is laughable peanuts and isn't worth his time, because he spent too much time in his 20s fighting for $2 to $5 million a fight when he thinks he should have been getting $20 million a fight back then. So now you're going to have to give him Deontay Wilder money, $30 million a fight or more, or he just wants to be released from his contract because he thinks someone else is going to give him $30 million a fight to fight other than the UFC.
That's great public negotiation. Not going to lie. Because he put it out there on the fucking web for everybody to see, or on Twitter or wherever the fuck he did it. That's great public fucking negotiation tactics. You know what? You can't be mad at the guy. Look at what he did in his 20s. He's well deserving of that money at this point. I'll see it. Albeit he has had his fuck-ups along the way.
Oh, yeah.
He seems to have gotten his shit together now. We haven't heard any fucking crazy John Jones fucking crazy shit in what, 2 years now, 3 years?
Not at least a year and a half, 2 years or so.
So, I mean, he seems to have gotten his shit together. Fucking pay the man. Put him out there. He ran the fucking light heavyweight division for how long? And was doing a good job at it. Pay him. He knows he's going to get put into orbit.
Right.
Pay the man to get put to sleep, dude.
I do agree. I think that's part of it. I think he knows that Francis is going to catch him and he's going to get slept just like fucking Stipe did. And he wants to make sure he gets paid well for it in case he doesn't get to come back. But I think the part that he doesn't realize himself is that he has already put out videos of him at 245, I say with air quotes, because that boy is thick. He a chunky monkey right now. He a little heftier than he said he was going to get, but he's going to tone it up. We've seen videos of him right now, and he is a hefty boy, and he ain't moving like he did at 205. He's not as quick or as crisp as he was at 205. More than that, he has never fought in the UFC at heavyweight. Despite releasing his 205 belt, he still has never actually stepped into the cage at heavyweight at 205. More than that, if he comes in and gets fucking slept, where's he go from there? Because he sure the fuck ain't going to be getting no $20 million checks if you come into your first time in the new division and get slept now that your old division has clearly moved right the fuck on past your ass. Because he ain't going back down to 205 and getting no immediate title shot right now. You need to fuck out of here with that shit. Glover's got that shot, and then you can get back in fucking line after Santos again or somebody. But he can't just walk back to 205 at this point. That's too fucking little too late.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because he's going to end up coming in. I think he'll get slapped. Now, do I think it's worth $30 million for him to get slapped? Fuck yeah, I do, 100%. Because you know what? He might not fight in the UFC again after that. Because is he really going to want to sit and dink around at heavyweight?
You're right. I should rephrase that. Do I think it's worth giving him 30 mil for every fight going forward from here? Fuck no. Do I think giving him a single contract for 30 mil? Yeah, I would agree with that. Give him this paycheck at 30 mil and not a guaranteed 30 mil from here on out. Don't let him get cornered. Or let him get a red panty night. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Or counter him. Fucking 20 million plus fucking pay-per-view buys.
Right, as a fucking challenger coming into the fucking title fight, still give him the pay-per-view. Yeah, I agree.
Still give him the points.
Yeah,
because if
I agree.
He can pull points, because you know he'll pull points.
Right.
That would be a good counter offer. However,
that really does make a lot of sense, which is probably why Dana would never be able to do it.
With us now officially ending the UFC or the UFC Reebok era and moving into the UFC Venom era, this is a good way for Venom to go, hey, we're gonna help get these big fights. Why not?
Right. We'll spice it up a little bit for you.
That's part of the reason why there's no UFC event this weekend, is because the contract for Venom started this week.
Changes over, yeah.
So everything changes over, so they have to get shit ready. Reebok shit all
canvases,
removed.
yeah, get all the new fucking Venom gear and the Venom promotional shit onto all the new Octagon canvases.
Yeah,
And
all the canvases, fucking corner posts, all that. So to be honest, I really think one fight. I'm not saying for the rest of his fights going forward. No, he hasn't earned that right. One, he hasn't talked himself into that because he tried to play company man way too much when he was younger, which really fucked him right.
It burned him, yeah. It burned his own
And
ass.
so I get it. Everybody saw how Connor did it, but not everybody's fucking Connor. However,
That's right.
at this point,
That's right,
with his with what he has as a given resume, when it comes to fighting, I'm not talking his outside of the cage antics because I don't give a fuck
Right.
about that. I'm speaking strictly about his resume as it is as a fighter. He deserves fucking 25, 30 million here. I would say a good solid 25 would be a good round number for them to all come to an agreement on. Fuck, even if you could get him to take 20, get him to take fucking 20.
20 in points for this fight. I would totally be okay with, I think.
I'm not gonna lie. Looking at to be honest, I think they did slap him in the face of 10 million offer. That's fucking terrible.
I see both sides of it.
I
get it. I get it because it is going to be a huge fight, but at the same time, like I said, this is your entry into a new division. Also, the other kind of, I guess it would be a backfire of John making this whole thing public and saying they offered me 10 and that's an insult, is that literally, I think it was 2 minutes after John said they offered me 10 and that was an insult, while the press conference was going on and Dana White literally said, if John doesn't take it, the next guy up will be Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis tweeted, I'll do it for 8 million. Shit, with like 9 eyes.
I saw that. And you know what? I don't think they're going to go to Derek Lewis right away, though.
But ask DC how that works when your opponent doesn't want to play ball and Derek Lewis is willing to take that dump truck full of money.
I don't think they're going to give it to Derek Lewis. I really don't, because I think the UFC at this point still a little nervous about a Lewis and Gano too, because after the first one, because those boys both know they can knock each other out.
I think after the Stipe Francis 2 played out like Stipe or like Francis wanted it to, I think that gives them the proper ammo to make Stipe or make Francis Lewis 2. Because now we know Francis ain't afraid to get hit. Francis has been working on his wrestling. We know that Derek Lewis has a problem with wrestlers getting taken down and shit. So I think it sets it up for a good play out, especially knowing that John is literally price warring himself out of the competition right now publicly.
I don't think he is. To be honest, look, he knows what the fuck he's doing. This is gonna sound fucking terrible. But on this, I don't know. Did you read DC's statement on this?
I did. And I have to say, I was surprised that he said it.
I'm in 100% agreement with DC, which is fucking weird for me to say.
That's what I was going to say. I was surprised that he said it. I was even more surprised that I agreed with him.
Yeah, I agree with him 100% on that. Like, one, John Jones does know exactly what he's doing. He's doing a beautiful job of it. Two, yeah, the fucker deserves to fucking get paid.
He deserves some money, absolutely.
Yeah, and not to mention, why would they not want to do anything they could to get this booked for July? 3 months out from now,
Fight Week, yeah.
International Fight Week, they've already got one big fight scheduled in July already. So
that's right.
Just saying, why not make it a fucking super card? We've got another super card this fucking month on the 24th. We've got 3 title defenses on the 24th.
Yes, sir.
Let's do another one in July. Go big or go fucking home.
I was going to say 2021.
International Fight Week pays dividends every fucking year. You're going to make that $20 million back this fucking quick.
They're going to have crowds again this year.
Exactly.
They've got 2 pay-per-views already booked. One in Florida, one in Houston. Both already sold the fuck out. Full capacity crowds back. You really trying to tell me that they're not going to keep that rolling into International Fight Week and sell the fuck out of wherever they decide to put that?
Oh, because they're going to put it where they can put a crowd, because Vegas right now, no crowds.
That's
so
right.
They're going to go, well, guess what? Vegas, guess what? This is our biggest show of the year. You guys are going to lose a lot of fucking money. So unless Vegas decides to change their fucking tune real quick, it'll go to fucking Houston. It'll go to Dallas. It'll go somewhere where it can hold the massive event. It can go to fucking San Antonio. Have it in the Spurs fucking stadium. Doesn't fucking matter. They can do it. 20 million right there for International Fight Week, not a big deal. Not even 30 million is. Because one, gate, merchandise, fucking food, drink, beverages, all that shit. You made that up just in beverages alone that night.
Oh yeah, you'll make more than what it will cost you to pay Jones just in your gate. Period. Just in the gate. Not touching the pay-per-view, not touching the merch, not touching the booze, which will sell. Just on your gate alone, you'll make more than what you pay Jones easily. So,
but yeah, I as much as I would like to see Lewis finally get another shot, because I think he's deserving of it at this point. I don't foresee them passing up the super fight opportunity. The UFC has done some stupid shit before, but passing up a super fight opportunity with one, the biggest knockout artist known to fucking man, and I'll even go out on a limb and say ever, because he fucking absolutely murdered people. Like, he's in the realm of fucking early Vanderlei Silva, early fucking Dos Santos, when all they were doing was fucking blowing people out of the water.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that realm, if not higher.
That Ronnie Coleman power.
Yeah. And then you have arguably the greatest light heavyweight of all time.
Well, I think you're right to a point. I think if John continues to play ball, they can make it happen. But I think if John waits too fucking long or doesn't seem like he's willing to play ball, like he's going to dig his heels in for real, they'll back that truck up to Derek Lewis's house and he'll show him exactly where to put that pile of money. And he'll sign that paperwork.
And I wouldn't
know
be
damn
mad
well
if
that he
Lewis
will.
does. I just hope they don't do it on 4 fucking weeks notice like they did when he
That's what I was going to say. I just hope they don't wait as long as they did the last time we saw Derek step in for a fucking
if that happens, Lewis needs to just, as much as I hate to tell Lewis to turn down 8 million, you turn down 8 million real quick on a short notice with Francis.
Yeah, you don't want to replay that DC fight, or worse, another Ngannou Lewis.
Yeah. Although that's not going to happen this time, probably. I doubt that'll ever happen again. Because now that those two have been around long enough, because you got to think, that was Ngannou really early into his UFC career. That was what, his second or third fight or fourth fight?
No, I think it was his fourth fight, but it was right after coming off a DC manhandling him the first time that he had ever been shut down. Or not DC, Stipe rather.
Yeah, that was coming off the Stipe fight.
That was coming off him literally getting manhandled for the first time ever in his career. And the first time ever in his career, he hit somebody with everything he had, and the guy kept coming because he clipped Stipe with a full-on shot. And Stipe took it and kept coming after him. And you could see in that fight, if you go back and watch it now, you can see the moment where Francis is like, I fucking got you. Pow! Oh, shit. He's still here. Fuck, and now he's got me. And then he was on his ass, and it was fucking all downhill from there. That didn't play out this time.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd situation there, especially with what had gone on now. What's going on now? But I still think I'll put it out here right now. I think we see the super fight over Ngannou and fucking Lewis too. I say we see the super fight before we see that fight. I'll say it now because I think it'll get done. Mainly because you know what? How much money did the UFC lose last year?
Right. Well, that, and you also have to think Ngannou has already said that he doesn't want to be a stagnant champion. He wants to try to fight 3 times a year.
Yeah, he said 2-3 times a year I want to defend. And you know what? That's fucking awesome because there's no other heavyweights that
for heavyweights. Yeah, that's insane. So they're not going to give Jones too much longer before they're like, yo, Derek will be ready by July.
I think they get it done. I really do. I think they'll come to some sort of amicable terms there to make both parties happy. And I think we could see it at International Fight Week. I do think that's a possibility because what bigger of a fucking main event could you put on at International Fight Week?
Yeah, that would be your money ticket right there. That would be the best fucking way to go for the UFC.
Yeah, that would be, to be honest, that fight setup right there. Not because the fight's going to be great, but because of the names and what everybody knows about both fighters, that could pull just as much as UFC 100 did.
Absolutely, without question. But we'll have to see how it ends up getting played out. Moving on from there, we got essentially a double down of what we kind of got in the moment via 140 characters. Demetrius Johnson actually did a full interview with Mike Heck from MMA Fighting and basically expounded upon his statement that he made immediately after the Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling disqualification. And went on to say that he literally had this exact same situation happen to him back in 2011 when he was fighting John Dodson, and John Dodson had went to the ground and had his fingertips on the ground, keeping himself there to look like he was down while he was perfectly able to move and just chose not to. And when DJ blasted him with a fucking knee in the same position, John McCarthy pulled him off and fucking hit him with the same fucking shit. So when Peter Yan threw that fucking knee and blasted Aljamain Sterling, who was sitting on his fucking ass and could have easily moved, but didn't, knowing the grounded fighter rule, when Yan blasted him with that knee, Demetrius Johnson immediately tweeted out that this is just another example of why the grounded fighter rule needs to be changed, why knees to a downed opponent should be legalized, because if you're in that position, you know you're in that position. You know exactly what that leaves you open to. If you have to be cognizant of nut shots and eye pokes and fingers out and all the other things, you have to also immediately and automatically be cognizant of the fact that when you're down, you're automatically more subject to a knee from right fucking there. I'm not saying the way to go is to take away all the rules that we've established, but I think there are absolutely at this point some of the rules that they established back in the day that can absolutely be revisited. I think the grounded opponent rule, I think the 12-6 elbow rule, I think there are several rules that can absolutely be revisited at this point. And I think DJ makes a damn good point, because if you go back and watch that fight in Aljamain Sterling versus Peter Yan, Aljamain knew he was on the ground. He wasn't helpless. He wasn't hurt. He was playing fucking chicken on the ground, knowing that he, quote unquote, can't get hit there. That's bullshit. If you know enough to play the rules and hide on the ground because he can't hit you, you should know enough to keep your fucking guard up when you're in that position purposefully stalling. So I completely agree in this situation. The down fighter rule needs to be changed because Aljamain Sterling was milking the loophole in the new rule set to his advantage, and then became the first fighter ever to win a championship, to get a title given to him on a disqualification. That alone should trigger a renegotiation or a reevaluation of some of these rules, like the down fighter rule, in my opinion.
Oh, I'm 100% behind you. The only time I think that no knee to a down fighter should apply is if they're fucking wobbled or fucking like you caught them good and they're still trying to catch their bearings. Then that's a different story because they don't necessarily know they're down. But in a situation where Aljamain was still with it and he's just sitting there,
right?
No, put that motherfucker in the orbit with the hardest knee you can. Stuff his brain out the fucking back of his head, because at that point you're stalling, and it's no different than stalling in collegiate wrestling, stalling in a fucking jiu-jitsu match. There's points taken away and awarded for that shit.
Yes, sir.
Guess what? It should be the same in mixed martial arts, except for you don't get a point taken, you get a knee to the fucking head.
Yep. Well, and like DJ pointed out, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm not saying to bring back shit like soccer kicks. No, that shit's unacceptable to me. Like, look, I get what Pride was doing at the time, and that's fine. But to be honest, kicking somebody in their fucking head while they're laying on the ground,
That's
never
much.
acceptable.
It's
like
a bit much.
that's some gang you're trying to kill somebody shit. But need a guy who's on his knees or got his hands on the ground on purpose to keep himself grounded. And I get it. They did revisit that rule. They did adjust it in some states, not every, and I say not just some states, but some countries as well.
Right.
Only certain countries adopted the new unified rules.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's fucked some things up. But that's definitely something that needs to be revisited under the new unified rules to include stalling on your knees or stalling with the fucking hands down with weight on them, even.
Right.
Because like you can still stall and be on all fours in a bear crawl position.
Well, and I was going to say, that's one of the things that DJ specifically addressed is that if you're actually on all fours, if you're on your hands and knees, literally all weight on hands, all weight on knees on the ground, you shouldn't be able to knee them in the head, but you should still be able to full body fucking knee. If you leave your ribs open and bear crawl, you know damn well your ribs are open. That should be legal to knee like it is now. It's just not emphasized as much. But if you sit on your butt, if you place one leg under yourself, like Aljamain Sterling did, and essentially half Indian sit on your butt on the canvas, you're not a down fighter at that point. You're taking a defensive stance on the ground. So you should be defensive minded. So if you get a knee thrown at you while you're sitting on your butt defensively, you should be accommodating the defense of that knee. Or if it fucking hits you, that should be ruled your fucking TKO of that match, in my opinion, when you can't continue.
And definitely the 12-6 elbow. That is the stupidest rule in all of mixed martial arts. Because look, they've already done the science behind this. You can't get as much force from this as you can from a swinging elbow. So these swinging elbows that you see people throw when they're on the ground, those have way more force behind them than one that is this. Somebody just didn't like the way this looked.
Think about the epitome of that as well. The fucking, as much as I hate to give him credit for it, the last second Yair Rodriguez up elbow. You really trying to tell me that fucking up elbow that he fucking spun and landed on the zombie didn't have more force than if he would have went like this because he went up instead of down? Fuck off.
Yep. But, you know, that's definitely one that needs change. There's a couple other things that I could see changed as well. Like, the eye poke thing, they really need to get a grip on.
I agree. I think it should be a point automatically every time, regardless.
Yeah, because you give them one warning while they're before a poke happens. Once you see that hand extended with fingers outreach, warning, hard warning. If you do it again, fucking point. Because there's all too many fighters that we see that do this to either to try to parry, which is fine. I get the parry, but you shouldn't be outstretched trying.
Right, yeah, you shouldn't be fingers out. You should be hands up.
You should still have a fucking bend in your elbow if you're parrying. You don't need to be outstretched doing it. And look, John Jones is the epitome of that fucking rule and why that rule is in place for the way it is with the fingers outstretched. He's the one who did it, but we've also seen it now cost a fighter fucking a whole fight.
Yep.
What fucking fight was that recently?
Edwards Bilal.
Yeah, Edwards Bilal. Bilal fucked up because he caught the fucking finger right in the eye because of an outstretched hand.
Leon Edwards literally skull fucked him. Yeah.
And it, in my opinion, should have been a disqualification. But instead, we did not get a DQ. We got a no contest.
Fucking no contest.
Which is fucking bullshit.
The second one of the night, ironically.
That's something that they warn the fighters about in the back. When you have to warn the fighters about it in the back, you've already given them the hard warning. Fucking points and DQ. It should not be accidental eye poke. You were warned. That's like, all right. This is the former military in me talking. In the military, there is no such thing as an accidental discharge on your weapon. If you accidentally discharge it, it's because you did something neglectful. Therefore, it is a negligent discharge.
Still,
you get in trouble
fault.
for it.
Yep.
Same fucking concept. This is negligent. You've been warned. Disqualifications around the house.
Control
if
your
it
fucking
ends
weapon.
a fight, disqualification.
Yep.
If it doesn't end the fight, I think they need to remove the timer on it too. Let that motherfucker take as long as he needs for his eye to feel right.
Recover. As long as he's able to recover. Yes, just give him whatever time he needs.
Give him 5 minutes where you just leave him the fuck alone for 5 minutes. And if after that he needs more time, you give him more fucking time.
Right.
Look, I get it. They're under time constraints because if you go back to, let's see, let's use this as an example. What was it? UFC 64 or 68. It was a Tito Ortiz, and I forget who the other fucking guy was. But for people who ordered that pay-per-view because the rest of the event went so long, the cable companies at the time shut the fucking pay-per-view off, so you didn't even catch the fucking main fight. Even though it was a fucking hot mess of garbage. I think it was UFC 68, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it is. I was just thinking, I think it's 68. I think
but
you're right.
That's where I get the time constraints of you only have 5 minutes to recover from groin shots, fucking eye pokes. I get that. But at the same time, when it's something where it's a negligent thing, with my opinion, eye pokes are negligent now. They've been warned enough. Everybody says, well, they just need to go to a fingerless glove. No, because this isn't boxing. There's grappling involved. You have to have use of your fingers to grapple. That's how that works. So I'm totally against them changing the glove style. Because the glove style, in my opinion, you've got most of the fucking top portion of the knuckle covered.
Yep.
You have 2 joints exposed. You have this joint and this joint on your finger. That's it. 2. And to be honest, that's perfect. They just need to make it known that if you win to fight with an eye poke, because we've seen it more than once recently.
Damn right.
That it needs to be a disqualification. No more fucking bullshit. Oh, it's a no contest because I don't think he did it on purpose. Yes, he did it on purpose. You warned him in the locker room, watch your fingers. No outstretched fingers. What happens? He poked the motherfucker in the eye. The fight ended. He failed to follow your instructions. That's negligence. That's not accidental. That's a negligent discharge of a finger into an eye. Period. Write that motherfucker in Article 15 and move on. If you don't know what an Article 15 is, it's because you're not military. It's a letter of reprimand. But anyhow, disqualify the motherfucker. That's what it boils down to.
Right. I agree. So, moving along from there, we did get a little bit of bad news in the small avalanche of good news that we got this week. One of the ones that we were really fucking looking forward to coming back next weekend for the UFC's big card. Darren Till is officially out of the main event versus Marvin Vettori. He broke his fucking collarbone. He fell in training and literally shattered his collarbone. That sucks. I really, really think that if he would have been able to just show up and beat the shit out of Vettori, he would have gotten himself the next fucking title fight, and it would have been pretty goddamn entertaining. But I think this is definitely going to be at least a 6 month to a year setback for Till. The problem is Vettori immediately upon finding out took to Twitter and started talking shit about everyone in the division, calling everybody pussies, saying that nobody could step up and take the fight, blah, blah, fucking blah. Just it sucks.
That sucks for more than one reason. I was looking forward to seeing Till finally back in the octagon and somebody finally getting to shut Vettori down. Because
that's what I was gonna say. I wanted to see him shut Vettori the fuck up. I'm tired of hearing that, dude.
Don't get me wrong, Vettori's earned his spot where he's at, but his fucking mouth has gotten out of control because he's not that great.
Exactly.
Look, he definitely has a place in the UFC. I will give him that with 100% certainty.
Yes.
In fact, I'll even give him. Yes, he deserves to be in the top 10 in middleweight right now. He really does. He's earned that fucking position.
I'll agree with that.
But I don't. The way he's run his mouth lately is rubbing me the wrong way. And don't get me wrong. Part of I'm on a fucking tear. Because he's on an absolute tear right now.
Yeah, he's on a three fight streak, I believe.
But at the same time, he's not the same Marvin Vettori that I watched going, this guy's got a lot of potential. Something in him's changed. And maybe for him, it's a good thing because that's what's allowed him to get on the tear. But for me, it's just rubbed me the wrong way. And it turned him into kind of a cocksucker, which, whatever. Till is a known cocksucker, but he's a funny cocksucker because he does it all jokingly.
Yeah, he embraces it. He leans into it. He's like, this is all jokes. And if you take it personally, fuck you.
Yeah. And what really sucks is that was a fucking amazing main event for the second.
God, was it not?
I mean, for ABC to lose this as their main event is going to be terrible. However, if they're smart, what they'll do is they'll put the co-main event into the main event because Super Sadiq Yusuf, that's fucking a really good, solid main event right there.
Yes. They still haven't announced what they're going to do with it yet, so there's still time for them to make the right decision, I'd say.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see a right decision. I mean,
no, I don't think so. I think we're going to end up with some bullshit last minute, which really sucks because, again, this fucking second ABC card is a huge fucking deal. It really is. It's a huge fucking
some pretty
deal.
Good names on there.
Yeah, and they built a decent card up, and for this to fall out literally a week beforehand fucking sucks.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. It is the fight game.
But, yeah, I was going to say, this is the fight world, and nothing's guaranteed until the fucking cage closes and the bell dings. So we will have to go on, and we will definitely be paying attention over the next week to find out what they're planning on doing next weekend. And we will absolutely have the information for you guys, hopefully next weekend on next week, rather, on next week's I'm No Joe, to let you know before that card comes up. Hopefully they've got a new main event before then. But we did get a small mountain of good news in the last couple of days that I wanted to talk to you guys about here. The first one we found out June 19th, Spider is back. Anderson Silva is officially back in action in Mexico City, stepping into the boxing squared circle against one Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. himself. This, I think, might be one of the smartest moves Anderson Silva could have done. We all know what he's capable of in the MMA world, but to get somebody like Chavez Jr. to step in Mexico to fucking box him, that's going to be a huge fucking payday. And even if he loses, he won't get destroyed like the UFC would want to have him do if they would let him keep fucking fighting. So I think this is the best option for him. He's going to make money either way. He's going to get to show off. He's going to get to showboat a little bit, break out some of those Anderson Silva tricks. I think it's going to be a good fucking night all the way around. I was very happy to see that this is his next step going forward.
Fuck yeah. And I'm not going to lie, I'm rooting for him on that one because we know he can stick and move. I mean, he still showed flashes of that when he fought fucking Stylebender because he made Stylebender miss quite a bit too, even though Stylebender did catch him quite a bit, but he did make him fucking look silly a couple times. So, I mean, he's flashy. And look, for boxing in Mexico, flashy is a good thing.
That's what they love.
Those guys love the flashy fighter. And you know what? I'm not mad at him because I love the flashy fighter too. I mean, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., another flashy fighter.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. And stylistically, it's going to be great.
That's fireworks there. I'm just saying. And not to mention, I think going to a strictly pugilistic side of the house for him is a really good move for two reasons. One, he's not going to have to worry about anybody kicking his fucked up leg, which is great. Because I love Anderson, but when that happened, I didn't want to see him fight again because I was so afraid that it was going to happen again.
I thought that was the end of his career as well. I did.
Really. And all credit where credit is due. He came back and continued to fight for many years after that in the MMA side of the house. So my hat's off to him, but I'm glad he's going to strictly pugilistic. Not to mention, I want to see how good his boxing really is without the use of kicks and everything else because it looked really good. But I think with just having to worry about hands, it's going to be so much better than what we anticipate.
Well, that and the biggest benefit, in my opinion, of this fight 20-ounce gloves.
Yep.
20-ounce leather-coated pillows on the end of the hand. There's almost zero chance of a one-shot knockout. You're not catching actual physical knuckles to the fucking temple. There's so much less risk of him getting legitimately long-term fucked up in this boxing match than there would be in 3 more MMA fights. I would love to see Anderson Silva be able to keep competing regardless of how this comes out, as opposed to seeing him get fucking destroyed in an MMA match and possibly not be able to come back.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential going on there. I'm liking seeing a lot of these crossovers where people are moving over to the fucking other side of the house now.
Absolutely. Well, and that actually brings me to the next crossover news that I was just about to talk about that we got confirmed yesterday. 2 legitimate living legends of the MMA world have both officially decided to give it another fucking go in one of the most fun ways possible. Tim Kennedy versus the Dean of Mean himself, Keith Jardine, are going to bare knuckle. Oh my God.
I think the greatest part of that news, those 2 are from the same fucking era.
They're training partners.
Yes.
They're still training partners right now.
Hey, what's great is they're with them still being training partners. They're good friends too.
They're buddies, yeah.
Well, I have this feeling that we're gonna see a possibility of another goat laydown fight here. That's all I'm saying.
Fuck yeah.
Because those
I
two
think
beat the hell out of each other because they know, hey, it's just business. And we both said, yeah, fuck it, why not?
That and neither one of them like to lose.
No. Tim Kennedy, sure as fuck don't. He's a Marine. That motherfucker don't like to lose.
Yeah, no, they're both of that age. They're both in that crazy fucking mindset. They both love to come forward and fucking get after it. I'm very, very excited to see that one fucking play out. That was one of the like most uplifting news that I got all fucking week when I saw that. I was like, that's awesome. And then Keith Jardine liked my fucking comment on his fucking story talking about it. So that just made me like 10 times more schoolgirly, like like, yeah, it was good news seeing that. I'm very fucking stoked to see that. Couple more interesting things we've got announced here. The May 15th 262 UFC got a triple header announcement this week. They are bound and determined to make that card spectacular here, because literally within 10 minutes of us getting off the air last week, they couldn't have done it beforehand because that's how it works. Within, I shit you not, 10 minutes of us closing the show down last week, Khabib Nurmagomedov officially announced that he is retired from combat sports altogether. He is withdrawn from the USADA testing pool. He has officially vacated the UFC lightweight belt, and Dana White has acknowledged that. In doing so, Dana White then subsequently announced that at UFC 262, the headline of the event will now be Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira for the vacant 155 belt as the headliner. To help beef that up, as if that wasn't enough of an oh shit announcement, they gave us this triplicate here going forward. Rafael Alves, who we saw make his debut and miss weight by 11.5 pounds as a featherweight earlier this summer, will be making his debut in the lightweight category, since it's a lightweight fucking showcase evening. He will be making his first entry at 155 to see if he can do that this time, stepping in against Damir Ismagulov, who came out looking like an absolute fucking monster the last time we saw him. So I'm interested to see if maybe Alves can actually make 55 when he's supposed to make 55, since he couldn't even make 55 when he was supposed to make 45 last time. Interesting to see how it plays out. Then they gave us another little tidbit to make sure that we were paying attention to what 262 was going to turn into. In Tony Ferguson stepping back into action against Beneil Dariush. That's going to be a crazy goddamn
That's got
match.
fireworks written on that.
That's going to be, that potentially could be a Tony Ferguson retirement fight, as weird as that is to say. If Beneil bucks him up, that could be the last time we see Tony for a long while.
Yeah, unless Tony Ferguson somehow gets out of his own head. If he does, I'm telling you, that's going to
be crazy.
Before we even get to that card, before they finalized everything, if Tony is in his right mind, and I say right mind figuratively because he's never in his right mind.
Right.
But if he is close to that, that could be dark horse fight of the night.
Fuck yes, it could. Easily. But the other oh shit tidbit that they gave us is if those weren't already enough to get everybody paying attention to 262. They gave us a piece of history that I will say this, I'll believe it when I see it. I hope I'm wrong, but I'll believe it when I see it. But they announced that 262 will be a historic event, as if we didn't have enough stacked on top of it. For the first time in UFC history, a non-title fight co-main event will be 5 rounds. And that historic fight will be between none other than Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards. Holy shit, that's a big fucking deal.
What I want to know is how the fuck did they talk them into? And I can't say it was Leon Edwards, because Leon Edwards probably didn't want to do 5 rounds.
He had no say in this matter. I guarantee he had.
This was all Diaz, and I want to know what Diaz said to get 5 rounds out of that, because he likes to go long. He's
even more than that. If you go look, when Nate announced it before the UFC did, he did it in one of the most, how do I put this? For Nate Diaz, that's the asterisk I want to put next to this. For Nate Diaz, the most intelligent and articulately composed paragraph he may have ever put on the internet ever. It literally said, "You guys come watch me fight May 15th down in Houston against Leon Edwards, the first 5-round co-main event ever. It's gonna be great." Nate Diaz talked like a fucking normal human being on Twitter. If that alone doesn't tell you how big this goddamn fight is, you haven't been paying attention to MMA for the last 15 fucking years.
I'm excited for that one. That one's going to be good.
That's fucking awesome. As fucking crazy as UFC 262 already was, then they're gonna slap this icing on top of it. Are you fucking kidding me? Yes, sir. I'm in for it. I'm fucking down. Get me my ticket. I'm on this 262 train right fucking now. Let's make it.
I'll have my cake.
Damn right. They have turned 262 into a fucking monster, and I am in to see how it fucking plays out. I'm very excited. Absolutely. Oh, so 2 other interesting announcements going into the summer here that we got over this week, and then we'll get into a little bit of Bellator talk here real quick. The first one for UFC 263 that takes place on June 12th. We got Lauren Murphy versus Joanne Calderwood. That's gonna be a fucking great ladies matchup for the summer. I am telling you right fucking now, that fight has fireworks attached to it. It's gonna be
Those
exciting.
two girls, they're just go, both of them. So that'll be
right. So the other huge fucking announcement that we got this week for the end of the summer was actually a two-part announcement here. The first one was that we had a former champion deciding to give it one more go. Miocic Tate has officially announced that she is coming out of retirement and going back for the goddamn bantamweight belt that was once wrapped around her waist. The second part of that announcement was that they've already given her a fight. She is already cleared. She's back in the pool. She is officially stepping in July 17th to take on Marion Renault, who we just saw lose by decision to Macy Chiasson. So they're obviously not throwing her right back into top of the stack, but they are going to throw her right back into competition because they basically said that Macy Chiasson's win over her this last weekend puts Macy Chiasson into the top 10 of the division. That means theoretically, if Miocic Tate comes out in 2 months and beats Marion Renault, she should be right into the top 10, which sets her up for 2 more fights to be another fucking title challenger.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited.
I'm in for it, man. She did a whole press conference and she confirmed, like, I'm not doing this because I'm broke. I've got plenty of money. I've got more than enough set up and set back to where I don't have to do anything for the rest of my life if I don't want to. I'm doing this because I am mentally in the best place I have ever been. I have had the time and the ability to get in and get back and train, and I am feeling the fire like I did when I first started MMA. So I'm giving it another go.
And you know what? That's a great statement that she put out, because if you watched, was it with, I think it was it with Brett Okamoto that she did the interview with? She actually released why she stopped fighting. And she said her heart wasn't in it anymore at that point. She said
she wasn't feeling it.
She just wasn't feeling it. So she stopped, which she said with, you have to be all or nothing with this sport. There's no in between.
That's what I was going to say. That's the right move.
And she made the right move. And obviously, if you're wanting to come back, you're all in again. So she was dangerous then. She's going to be dangerous now. I'm telling you. With that time off to heal, get your mind right. She'd have to do a little more family stuff, have another kid. Good on her. That's one tough mom, man. Watch the fuck out. And she was the UFC champ for a reason. I mean, she did choke out a fucking raging Holly Holm at the time.
Yes, she did.
And when I say choke out, I don't mean she tapped out. She put her to fucking sleep.
Oh yeah, no, she slept Holly. Yeah, no, I was gonna say with the exception of the arm bars to Ronda, who literally everybody other than 2 fucking people had that same fucking fate. Miocic only ever had 2 bad fights, and those were her last 2 fights before she left, when she lost her belt, which understandably would fuck your head up a little bit, and then her next fight with Raquel Pennington, which she took too soon after losing her belt and clearly wasn't back yet, and in the process of getting beat decided that this isn't where she should fucking be, so she stepped away.
And a very smart step away indeed, isn't it?
Goddamn right.
I wasn't mad at her for fucking retiring at the time. I'm glad to see her unretired, though. I can tell you that, because she's still, as far as age is concerned, she's still in her fighting prime. So
yeah, she's 34 years old. She's 34 years old and took 4 years off.
Yeah.
She's absolutely still in her fucking prime and can absolutely, in my opinion, give it a hell of a run.
For anybody who thinks she hasn't been training, go back to any of her social media accounts. It doesn't matter which one you go to. There are videos of her training for the last 4 years, even while pregnant.
Yep.
She's still been training. She's still been rolling. She's still been sparring. Look, She's a bad mamma jamma. That's all I'm saying, and I'm excited to have her back. And as much as I hate to see somebody else's retirement go out on an L, I have a good, strong feeling that's what we're gonna see. Because I'm going hat all in on Misha on her first fight back.
Yeah, I agree. And I tell you what, if there was ever a baby born with a fucking blue belt,
that's gonna be hers.
Her fucking latest little one might have came out with a fucking stripe on its belt already, man. So yeah, no, I agree. I am all in. I am super fucking stoked to see Misha back, and I think she can really be a legitimate problem for some of these fucking ladies who seem to have gotten complacent at 35. There's a lot of girls who talk a lot of shit and have not earned the right to do so. And Misha Tate, I feel, is about to be a fucking reality check for a lot of them. I think it's going to be a good fuck. I think it's well timed. I think it's a great decision, and it's going to be big.
Yeah, it's going to be huge.
That being said, we actually, again, I'm not going to jinx it and say this is how it is. I'm just going to say that somehow, again, we got a full list of rational medical suspensions coming off of UFC 260. Every single person that got finished or stopped got at least a 2-month suspension, no less. Everyone who got injured has to be cleared by a doctor or has at least a 2-month suspension. I don't know how we got to this point, but I'll take it.
Fuck
so
yes.
We're just gonna move right along from that. Luckily, we haven't had to make that its own segment again in a couple of events. So I'm just gonna keep on going and hope that this is starting to become a fucking thing. I don't think it's gonna, but we're gonna pretend for right now. So that will bring us to tomorrow night, not a Thursday afternoon, not a Sunday, not a Saturday night, but tomorrow's Bellator 255.
Before we do that, I've got one other big piece of news that came out. And for me, in my opinion, it's big. It just came out today.
By all means.
BKFC, where we're about to see two greats go at it, has announced that they are creating a fighter pension fund.
I saw that. I hadn't read enough on it just yet to talk about it myself, but yes, I did see David Fitzpatrick announce that he is creating a pension for fighters from BKFC now. He
said in his little press conference, fighters are their most valuable asset as a company. So he wants to make sure that they're not only taken care of while fighting, but once retired as well. So he's going to have a fund set for them to draw on.
That's fucking smart.
Can we say he's putting other fucking MMA, boxing, the whole fucking 9 yards on notice?
NCAA.
Can you say we're gonna see a large? I have this huge feeling with that being announced like that, the large influx of fighters that we're gonna see go to BKFC for that reason, because they know that this is not a permanent thing you can do until you're 60. Or 65 to retirement age.
Look at Leonard Garcia.
Yeah, he called it quits after a fantastic win.
After a goddamn glorious fucking win.
So I'm just saying, I think he put the rest of these fighting organizations on notice, whether it's boxing, kickboxing, MMA, fucking it doesn't matter, wrestling, whatever. It's all having a fund for your fighters. I'm sure there's going to be some little legalities with it, like you have to do X number of fights with them or whatever.
I was going to say, I know they're going to have a loophole, but you know what? That's fine. Understandably, make sure they don't get milked for it.
Yeah, like you've got to have a tenure. I get it. You have to have a tenure, put so many fights in. That's fucking awesome. That's one of the greatest things that I've ever seen come out of any combat sports fucking head ever. The UFC could take a huge page out of that book. Look, how many what did the UFC sell for last? Like $4 or $5 billion?
4.3 billion.
Yeah. If your company's worth that much, you can afford a fucking pension for your fighters.
Yep.
And granted, I still do think there should be a loophole there that says, yes, you need to have X number of fights.
Exactly. Make a
within the
contingency, so you
organization.
have to meet criteria. I completely agree,
Then,
but I agree there should be something.
not to mention, there should also be a scaling to the pension, in my opinion. But I'm sure they're working that out. And I say scaling in this right.
Agree.
You were a champion in your division, you get a bigger pension than some guy who was just a soup cannon in for fucking 10 fights, you know?
Agreed.
But still, the idea of a pension fund, seeing that popping off today, fucking amazing. I'm more than happy, which I'm glad I already watched BKFC. You get all of the monies.
Yeah.
No, because you know what? You've made it worth it. That right there, I'm glad to put money into those guys' pension. Because you know what?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's something that's well earned. That's a lifetime of practice, a lifetime of beating your body up so you can perform at a high level. That's the right thing to do. It's kind of like being a fucking police officer or a firefighter. You work your ass off hard enough for long enough, you deserve that pension at the end. Well, fuck, any job for that matter. If you're doing it long enough and working hard enough, you deserve it. But those people that put their bodies on the line, they definitely fucking deserve it.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
Okay. Now on with the rest of it. I just wanted to put that out there because I thought that was fantastic.
No, you're all good. As I said, I just hadn't read up enough on it yet to be able to talk on it. But no, I completely agree. I think that's one of the best things in combat sports, period, that we have seen in a long fucking time. And I really do hope that holds a fucking Bic lighter under Dana White's balls starting right fucking now. I hope that he has got heat on his testes from now until the time that he fucking caves and sets up some sort of real fighter pension fund for the UFC and makes it retroactive. So guys that are having to deal with screws coming out of their fucking arm from winning championship fights in the UFC can get some fucking treatment for the rusted screws backing out of their goddamn arm.
You know, that also does bring up another point. If they're going to do that and put heat on them, how long before they try to buy BKFC?
Well, I don't think they're going to have the option because one of the other kind of not as big stories, but definitely a story that happened this week was that the company who owns one of the the UFC is owned by two companies, WME and then Evolve. Evolve, as of right now, owns the minority share. WME owns the majority share. They're the ones that paid the 4.6 billion or whatever the fuck it was for the rights, quote unquote, to the UFC. Well, the other owner, the other half owner in the UFC, Evolve, this company who is also chaired by none other than Elon fucking Musk, have decided that they are going to make the power move and buy out WME to take 100% ownership of the UFC. So Dana White will be completely out of any ownership stake. He will literally just be the promoter. That takes the option to buy BKFC out of Dana White's hands and keeps that fire right under his little fucking gonads, which I'm very happy to see.
Yeah. It'll be interesting and see how long he keeps his job too then.
Yeah, they might want somebody who can actually be fair to everyone to step in and start doing that fucking job soon.
I mean, he can be the promoter all day, but then he's not going to have a say in pay or anything like that. And maybe at that point, maybe, and I'm saying this loosely because I don't know, but maybe we'll get lucky and they'll cut this one branded bullshit. Let these guys wear whatever the fuck they want. Let them fucking put Condom Depot on their ass again. I'm just saying, let the fighters make their own money since they're contractors. If I'm a fucking contractor, I should be able to show up to my job site with whatever tools I fucking own. I shouldn't have to use your shitty tools.
That's right.
When I've got a set of fucking Milwaukee and Makita in my bag and you're handing me some fucking Stanley and fucking Black & Decker shit, fuck you. And nothing against Stanley or Black & Decker here. I'm just using this as a reference. Price points on where this is at. That's all. Metaphors, people. Metaphors. Yeah.
Right. No, I completely agree. I really do hope that this opens up the door and gets the ball fucking rolling. But as is often with the case with Dana White, we're just going to have to fucking wait and see. But tomorrow evening, because Bellator can't keep on one schedule ever. On Showtime and all of their platforms, you will be able to watch the Bellator 255 card for free tomorrow evening, which is very cool. The problem is that they didn't really stack the card that heavy for something that they're promoting for free on the only weekend they have without UFC to compete against. That being said, there are still several fights on this card that I do want to take just a quick second to at least give a shout out to, or to give a quick little talking point about. The prelim cards, excuse me, the prelim card rather, has two fights that I want to shout out real quick here. The first one, Mangomed Magomedov versus CJ Hamilton. If you have not seen Mangomed Magomedov yet, go look him up as soon as we get off the air. That man is going to be a problem in the future for everyone in whatever fucking organization he finds himself in. I'm telling you right fucking now. CJ Hamilton basically is the fucking layup that they have thrown him to make a fucking example out of. The other one here on the prelims that I'm telling you right now has some firework potential. Roger Huerta versus Chris Gonzalez. Roger Huerta is fucking G in the fight world. Chris Gonzalez looks like he has got an asshole full of firecrackers. That dude looks like he is just ready to fucking go. But Roger Huerta can never be overlooked because that dude is a fucking madman. And he has been a banger since bangers weren't a fucking thing yet. So that one also has crazy fucking potential. But the main card itself has 4 spectacular fucking matchups on it that legitimately all deserve a quick little moment to talk about here. The first one, if no other fight on this card happens, I'm telling you right now, this one is worth the price of admission. Neiman Gracie versus Jason Jackson. Neiman Gracie coming off of a definitely fucking no shame whatsoever fucking title attempt. Jason Jackson coming out of Sanford MMA like a fucking monster, training with demons like LDV, the Swarm down there, just putting in fucking work. You know Henry Hoof has got those dudes sharper than fucking Ginsu's. They're all coming out of Sanford dangerous lately. Gracie's no fucking slouch either. These dudes are both guys that can fight anywhere and everywhere. This is going to be a fucking welterweight fight you don't want to miss. I'm telling you right now, this is where the fucking card is going to be its peak, in my opinion, here.
Fuck yeah. Neiman Gracie's only loss is to Rory McDonald.
For the fucking belt.
For the belt. So, I mean, if you're going to say anything at all bad about the guy, you really can't. He lost to fucking great Rory McDonald.
And it was a decision. He went the distance. He didn't get stopped. He went the fucking distance.
And that in itself is a huge win, considering he's only has 11 pro fights. And at the time, he only had 10. Because he has fought once since that fight, and he did get another win, because, you know, Neiman Gracie. But then you look at Emmanuel Sanchez, he's on a fucking 3-fight tear right now himself. So, I mean, this fight right here does have fireworks written on it. And I just said fucking Emmanuel Sanchez, didn't I? God damn it.
Instead of Jason Jackson.
I'm losing my fucking mind. Don't mind me. Jackson.
We'll get there.
There, I know what I was trying to say. I was jumping ship to the fucking main event there, but yeah, Jackson's on a 3-fight tear himself. So, I mean, there's some really good things going on in this fight. There's a potential for a lot of fireworks to go down.
Absolutely, I'm very fucking excited.
Not to mention this dude did just beat up an aging Benson Henderson.
That's right. So we'll see how it plays out. I think it's going to be one of the better fights on the card. But what I'm calling right now as dark horse fight of this whole fucking event is the ladies flyweight matchup.
Oh, yeah.
Alejandra Lara versus Kana Watanabe. Holy shit. Watanabe has never lost. She's undefeated. She's 9-0 with one fucking no contest. Alejandra Lara is a fucking firecracker. Like, these are two girls who don't know how to back up. They both just come forward and fucking go. I'm telling you right now, these ladies are going to light that fucking octagon on fire. This might be fight of the night, realistically.
Oh, yeah. Not to mention, if you look at fucking Laura, her last losses were in 2018 to a one now champion of that division, Lima McFarlane.
Yes, sir.
So look, she's got nothing to be ashamed of, and she's done nothing since 2018 but win.
Yep.
So she's on a fucking tear, and obviously Kana, she's already won her inaugural fight in Bellator.
Yep.
So
she's through Ryzen
to the bright lights of Bellator at this point. So with no losses coming in here, this very well could be a dark horse fight of the night. It very well could be. These girls, you'll see some fucking. The best thing about this, in my opinion, they're fucking flyweights. They're itty bitty. So all we're gonna see is fucking action. I mean, look at the. Okay, let's just jump straight to this. Look at Lima McFarlane, the way she fights. There's no stopping that girl. Alejandra Lara, no stopping her either. Okay. You look at the way fuck. You can even look at Kana's first fight in the fucking Bellator. Neither one of these girls have an off switch. They're either they do have an off switch, but their on switch, it's not a dial. It's either 0 to 100. That's it. There's nothing in between. This isn't a dimmer switch. No, these ladies are full bore. We're gonna see some fireworks there.
I agree. I'm very excited to see that fucking fight play out. Unfortunately, there is one major fluffer fight on the card that they are going to cram in and make everybody pay attention to. Tyrell Fortune coming fresh off of Timothy Johnson, knocking him the fuck out. Stepping in against a full-fledged fucking Campbell's wrappered soup can that is Jack May. This is the definition of a gimme fight. They have absolutely set the little T-ball steak up out in front of the fucking plate, and they put that little ball up on it, and they brought Tyrell Fortune up, and they lined his bat up with the ball and told him, just let her go, sweetheart. This is that fucking set up. They really want Tyrell Fortune to be the future so fucking bad. And Timothy Johnson came out and ruined that fucking hype train like nobody's business so hard that they are going to throw a fucking pizza delivery dude essentially for Tyrell Fortune to try and get him back into that fucking win column.
They're giving him Jack May for a second time. Because
Yeah,
the first fight ended in a no contest.
It was a bullshit. Because
that was in September.
Out. Yep. So I'm actually hoping Jack May gets him here. It may be a hope against hope, but I'm so anti Tyrell Fortune at this point. I'm kind of rooting for Jack May, really.
Yeah. To be honest, Tyrell Fortune, he reminds me of MVP for this reason. They keep feeding him soup cans to pump him up, and it's not doing anybody any favors.
No.
So when they give him anybody who's got half of a decent resume, he folds like a fucking soup can. Thus the Tim Johnson fight. And I'm not calling Tim Johnson a soup can by any means, because he's not.
No.
But he's definitely not your fucking glory heavyweight motherfucker that you're gonna remember forever. I'll remember him because that dude has one fantastic mustache, but other than that, he could be a forgettable heavyweight.
Yeah, no. Tim Johnson's got a fucking glorious crumb pusher, but he was brought in the same position that Jack May is right now. They brought him in thinking Tyrell Fortune was going to fucking steamroll him, and it went quite the opposite way. And realistically, I'm kind of hoping this does the same thing. I'm hoping that Tyrell Fortune just completely overlooks Jack May, thinking that he's supposed to get this fucking easy layup, and Jack May catches with something and just lights him the fuck up. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's my dark little fucking black heart hoping anyway. The good news, though, is that will bring us to the actual main event, the Featherweight Grand Prix semifinals, the replay of what we saw previously in one Patricio Freire Pitbull against Emmanuel Sanchez 2. So, to be fair, Emmanuel Sanchez might have done more damage to Patricio the first time they fought than anyone else has to date. He had Patricio stanky-legged, falling against the cage, almost knocked the fuck out in round 1, and then stayed the fucking course when Patricio turned it back on him and made it all 5 rounds. Both of them ended up busted up and fucking bloody and swollen at the end of the match, but the belt inevitably stayed with the Pitbull brother. But we've also seen Emmanuel Sanchez learn from and grow from that fight and get back on the wheel and try and fix the holes in his game that Patricio was able to capitalize on, and work on the endurance that didn't let him finish the fight when he needed the gas tank to do it and just didn't have it. And now we've got a chance here in this Grand Prix for him to not only avenge that loss, but to kick the guy holding the belt out of the fucking competition and set himself up against AJ McKee to take that belt in what could be an even greater matchup for the finals itself. But Patricio Pitbull is no slouch. He's the double champ over in Bellator for a fucking reason. He has legitimately earned his way to not one, but 2 different belts in Bellator. And I don't care what fucking organization it is. If you can make your way to and then defend simultaneously 2 belts, you're kind of a fucking badass to a certain degree here. Maybe not to the same level as the UFC, but we use the UFC as a benchmark. So even if the Bellator organization itself is just the next step below the UFC, this man is running 2 divisions, actively defending both belts, going back and forth, holding that 55 belt while taking part in the Featherweight Grand Prix. Credit where credit is fucking due. I don't like what the Pitbull brothers have become since Eric Barricine has fucking moved in with them and they've taken that Henry Cejudo camp to heart. But I will not diminish what this man has done in the cage. Ask Michael Chandler about Patricio's right hook. It was the last thing to put Chandler to fucking sleep before he got his way over to the UFC. So Patricio is no fly-by-night fucking champion. He's been here for a minute. He earned his way here, and he definitely has established himself as a legitimate bad motherfucker. The problem for him, though, is that the last guy to show the real flaws in his armor, the real holes in his game, was Emmanuel Sanchez. And now he's got to fight him again. And to Patricio's credit, he is a bad motherfucker, but he has not really evolved his game a whole lot since the last time these two met. He very much is a very similar fighter to who he was the last time they squared off. Sanchez, on the other hand, has noticeably evolved and changed and worked on the things he couldn't get in the Patricio fight the first time that he wanted to. The big question: has he changed and learned enough to change the outcome? Initially, I wasn't 100% sold, but you got to think the way rematches have been going this season, you kind of got to think that the challenger's coming in and he's got more of a chance than most folks might be giving him credit for. I know I didn't give Gano the credit that I probably should have, and look how that fucking ended up. So I'm not going to make that mistake again here. I think Sanchez has what it takes to right the wrong that he took in the first one. I think Sanchez comes out of this on top, moves on to face McKee, and sends Patricio fucking home crying with an L.
I can't say this for me. This is pretty close to a fucking coin flip of a fight. For one reason, Pitbull has not lost since 2016. 5 fucking years. He's halfway to one legendary fighter that everybody wanted to come to UFC but never did. He's halfway fucking there. And to be honest, I would love to see him make it 10 years in Bellator and never go to the UFC and win all of his fights over the course of 10 years. That would be fantastic, because then that's that one guy where you can go, maybe he is greater than a lot of the UFC fighters. Now, has he evolved a whole lot over the last 5 years? No, he's made some changes, a few little bumps and strikes here. However, those changes that he has made, they've paid dividends. Let's just look at his last 3 fights. Michael Chandler, May 11th, 2019. Knocked the fuck out. 1 minute. Put a hell of a banger against Juan Archuleta to take the second belt. And that one went to the decision, but he did work on Archuleta really well in that fight. And then what's he get? In November of this last year? That was the last Bellator card of the year, if I'm not mistaken, was in November. Or no, was it?
Yes,
Yeah, it was. And he goes out, puts that card out with a fucking bang. 2 minutes into the first round. Fucking another knockout. What he's done since that Emmanuel Sanchez fight, those 3 victories alone, says I think there's been enough change there to give Emmanuel Sanchez a lot more of a run for his money than he got in the first fucking fight. Now, Emmanuel Sanchez, on the other hand, since 2018, if you look at him, how many fights has he had since 2018 since that loss? The exact same amount. 3. And ironically, he was on the undercard for Pitbull's last fight on November 12th when Bellator had their last fight of 2020. But he's become a decision machine since then. Decision. He did have 1 sub in there, but another decision there in November as well. Does that mean that the level of competition that he was facing has gone up? Or was he just a half step off? I want to say he's a half step off because of the decision machine, with the exception of that 1 submission. Because to be honest, I don't think that the level of competition that he was fighting there is better than Pitbull. The people who were fighting nowhere near as good as Pitbull. Now, here's my other problem with him. This is my biggest problem. He fights out of Rufus Sport in Milwaukee. Duke Rufus. And I love, look, from fucking Wisconsin, if you can't tell by the hat. Love Duke Rufus camp down in Milwaukee. But they're only good at one thing. They can get you to the title fight. They can't guarantee you're going to win it. And if you do win it, you sure as fuck are not holding it out of Rufus Sports. It just doesn't happen there. No. So, with the way that the Rufus Sports out of Milwaukee seems to be going, I can't, in good faith, give him this fucking fight to win. Because I just don't trust the Rufus methodology anymore. It used to be a thing where I could go, yes, without a shadow of a doubt, you're coming out of Rufus Sports, yeah, you're going to win this title.
Right.
I don't think he's going to. Because of that fact. He's done great things since his last close fight with Pitbull. But Pitbull, I think, has gotten better to be able to hold down 2 divisions. I'm just saying. I have this strange feeling Pitbull's going to show the holes in the Rufus Sport camp. I'm not going to say in Sanchez, because Sanchez doesn't know their holes because it's the camp.
Right.
I think if he changed camps, yeah, he'd definitely run that division. But with Rufus Sports behind him, yeah, he might win the title, but he won't run it. If anything, they'll be smart and they'll give Pitbull another shot at it, because why not keep a double champ if you can?
Yeah, no shit.
And I think Pitbull would take it after that, even if he does lose it. But I don't think he's going to lose it. I think we see him still. However, I don't think this is going to be like the first fight. I think Pitbull's going to give Sanchez a lot more than he can handle than he did in the first fight. Granted, that's just because of my take on Rufus Sports mainly, and it's nothing to do with Sanchez. Sanchez is a fantastic fucking fighter, but it's just I think it's piss poor choice in camp. And it's not that I can't say piss poor choice in camp because they do have a lot of great pro athletes.
Right. But we know where the ceiling is at that camp.
Yeah, we've seen the ceiling and nobody has been able to break it. And maybe it's just the athletes. Maybe it's not Rufus Sports.
It could be the guys that he takes on too as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, he got Anthony Pettis to the pinnacle. Anthony Pettis couldn't keep it.
Right.
I'm just saying there's other ones out there, but I mean,
same with Woodley. Woodley's a perfect fucking example.
Yeah.
He got Woodley up to the fucking top like a rocket, and then he fucking fell right off.
Yeah, it's a weird thing there. So I've lost a little bit of the faith in them, and maybe part of that is because of their track record. Maybe it's just the fighters. I don't know, but that's why I can't give it to him in good faith, and I have to say, you know what, even on a coin flip that I think this is, I think Pitbull still takes it.
I can agree with that to a certain degree, and it sucks because I like both of these guys, but I do agree completely with the last two wins that Sanchez has. I fucking love, and I've been screaming the praises of Georgie Karakazian from the fucking rafters since he was a fucking prospect. And I'm still telling you right now, I love that fucking kid, and I still think he's got great fucking potential. He's another one that he needs to get to a new fucking camp to get himself dialed in. Same with Daniel Weichel. I like Daniel Weichel. I've been a fan of his for a hot goddamn minute, but he just got shut the fuck off his last time out right before Sanchez got a hold of him and then decisioned him all the way through. So I do completely agree. It's not like Sanchez has fucking, tore his way back to a rematch with Pitbull, but we are back to a rematch, and based on the way that the 2021 rematch season is going, I'm stacking my chips in the corner of the challenger this time just to see how it goes. But we are going to call that all for this particular episode. That is the end of our Bellator card. We've got no UFC for this weekend, so
wait a minute. We're missing something. Does this mean we both get 2 points? Because I have to vote for you. You have to vote for me. Just saying. I think everybody else fell behind because they didn't show up, so that puts us back up in the lead.
That's what I was going to say. We get to blame this on RJ and Fresh because they weren't here to eliminate the tie that inevitably came because you can't vote for yourself. So we're both automatically getting 2 points because of RJ and Fresh. And not that that's how I want to take a point, but I'll take that fucking point. So
thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, good sirs, as well. I agree. But before we do get out of here, I do want to take just a moment here and give this glorious bearded bastard a second to let you fine folks know, if you don't already, where you might be able to get yourself some delicious fries, cheese curds, and maybe even directions on how to find yourself one Kenosha crippler. So if they need to get a hold of you after the show, how could somebody do such a thing, TJ?
Wednesday nights right here on the YouTubes, 9:30 Central Times. I make Golf Tea Vapes on YouTube. You can message me on the Instagrams. I'm glad to talk kicky punchies with you or anything else for that matter. If you do it over the next couple of days, though, I will be quite unresponsive as I'm working my ass off at home. But on my vacation, mind you, realized I came to the terminology that, or not the terminology, but I've come to the census that every time I take a vacation, I do something with my house. Last year's vacation, I put in floors. This year, build a greenhouse. I'm not taking vacation anymore. It's not fucking worth it. I work too goddamn hard on my vacations. I think next time I'm just going to take a day off, day here, day there throughout the year and just start it out. Because vacation, obviously not worth it. Too much work goes on, not enough relaxing, lazy fucking TJ. So I want to be able to eat cheese curds, direct people to find the Kenosha crippler. I want to do those kind of things. I want to sit in my front yard with a fucking glass of whiskey and point people in the right direction. Cheese curds are there. Kenosha crippler is there. You're good.
There you go. Well, either way, We appreciate your time here. Thank you very much for taking time out to be here with us, sir. So we are going to go ahead and call that all for this particular episode. Thank you to everybody, whether you showed up live to hang out with us. We appreciate you guys as well. Whether you're catching this on the audio replay, links in the description here on YouTube for all of the social media, as well as our Patreon. If you want to support the channel and what we do around here, not only does it help us do what we do around here, but it also gives you access to behind the scenes shit, unaired things, and even unairable things. So if that's something you're interested in, click down below and check that out. If you like what we do around here, click that thumbs up for us. We appreciate that. Subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss an episode. If you don't like what we do around here, because we're just a couple of goofballs who keep bringing some fucking young kid who don't know what he's talking about either back on the show, we get it. Hit that thumbs down. We earned it, and we won't dispute it. That being said, though, we are going to call it all for this particular episode. So remember, folks, until next time, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything. Something, something, something dark side.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening.
How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.